What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Thursday, everybody. Before I continue, I just want to let you know that if you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, hype, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us, really, but it is what helps us the most. However, if you want to help out the channel in other ways, we have links down there you can choose from. You can become a member on YouTube or on Patreon. If you want merch and no ads, I think Patreon is the way. This is the only ad you get on Patreon. You can also choose to give us a review on Spotify because we were just accepted to the partner program and we can really use your help to keep growing. You can also go to the main channel if you're new. And I got about 850 episodes that you can go through. I would really appreciate doing any of those things. Whatever you choose to do is always appreciated. So thank you. So today I'm gonna try to get you a couple of videos that are, one is really good news that doesn't happen often, but the other one is about one of the most recent, the basement podcasts from the Y-Files that I was alerted by one of you in the comment section down below from one of my previous videos. You guys told me that today there was going to be a podcast that I had to look forward to, and that was none other than Timothy Hogan, the Grand Master Templar, who I did a video about a few weeks ago, where he alluded that Jesus has potentially DNA that is not from this planet. He alluded to that. He alluded to the fact that they still allegedly have the remains of not only Jesus, but his family, like his offspring. And Hogan makes another wild claim that I had already heard, that is also talked about with my friend Chad on UFOs, where they talk about these arcs that are similar to the Ark of the Covenant. Tim Hogan claims there are 6 of them and that the Templars throughout history have managed to recover every single one of them between like the Holy Land and Egypt, in between there, those were allegedly found. But Timothy Hogan also opens up one of the theories that is the most controversial because there's a lot that can be proven about it, of what UFOs might be, of what we might be dealing with. But it's still one of the theories that does seem to interest the most fascinating individuals, which is that what we're dealing with is likely really old, really ancient technology and knowledge. And there's only a select few people who know about this. And the reason why I've been telling you a little bit about Bob Grenier is because Grenier comes from a Masonic family. And the work that he's doing is trying to explain, in part, some of this ancient wisdom or ancient technology, which is just really, according to him, it's just really science that we haven't rediscovered yet. And I think that some of what Timothy Hogan talks about here has to do with that. It has to do with humans throughout history having this cyclical type of behavior, depending on the civilization, where they reach a point where they rediscover things like the atomic energy. AI is another example right now that sort of feels like something that any technological civilization would be en route to, you know. And Timothy Hogan does talk about this being the case. He talks about some of these arcs being technology from an ancient civilization. He mentions that he believes it's Atlantis, and that's what the Templars believe. I don't know about that, but it's certainly really interesting the correlation there is between President Truman, who was the one right there in the thick of it back in the 40s, and they talk about also Robert J. Oppenheimer, who famously created the 2 first atomic bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That those are the only 2 times in our civilization's history where a nation has detonated explosives or weapons of mass destruction that killed thousands and thousands of people.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
Those are the only two times. And it sort of feels like whatever this UFO activity is, and if you are taking into account all of these military personnel who worked for the nuclear division of the government, and many of them have different types of encounters that they allegedly saw. And this is all around sensitive military installations, which is something that still goes on to this day, although it's labeled differently with these drones. But there seems to be an interest of objects that are going around sensitive military installations where either mining or harvesting of some sort of energy happens. It's really weird. But yeah, let's see what this connection is, according to Tim Hogan from the latest Y-Files, the Basement podcast, where he was a guest with AJ. And the entire podcast is really fun. They talk about all of this history that Timothy Hogan claims to know. They go through the arcs, they go through the technology, they go through this mana liquid or powder, depending on the presentation. They go through a lot. And I would highly recommend you guys go watch that one. And also let me know what you think about Tim Hogan. But here he is with AJ on the Basement, making a really wild connection.
There was clearly a worldwide advanced civilization that was going on. Harry Truman, when he wrote in his diary entry that, by the way, Harry Truman was a past Grand Master of Missouri for Freemasonry. He was a 33rd degree Freemason, and he was a Templar. And when he wrote in his diary entry about the discovering of the atomic bomb, he says, "We have discovered an ancient weapon."
I didn't know he said that.
Yeah, those were his exact words. "We have discovered an ancient weapon."
And these texts you're talking about, they do talk about a sky filled with fire.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Oppenheimer was a Sanskrit scholar.
Yes.
That's why when he said, "I've become death, the destroyer of worlds," that's
Mhm.
directly from the Mahabharata.
Yes.
And books like the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, they say things like, it talks about atomic detonations. It says Gurkha, flying his powerful Vimana, hurled a single projectile with all the power of the universe. It was an unknown weapon, an iron thunderbolt, which reduced to ashes the entire race of the Vrishnis and Ankadas. A pottery broke without apparent cause. Elephants burst into flame and ran madly. The birds croaked madly. After a few days had passed over, all foodstuff became infected. Hair and nails began to fall out.
Sounds like radiation poisoning.
Radiation poisoning. The soldiers threw themselves in the streams to wash themselves and their equipment.
Mm.
Clouds roared upward, showering gravel. I mean, these were all the descriptions of this weapon. And by the way, the Vimanas were these flying craft, you
Right.
know. So these are in ancient texts. These were things that the Nazis were studying, that Annanerba were studying to try to develop this. And they did when they were developing their V2 program. That Oppenheimer, or that was in charge of, and then he was brought over to establish the NASA program for the
Von Braun.
Yeah, Werner von Braun.
Mhm.
Sorry, not Oppenheimer. Werner von Braun. He was in charge of the V2 program. He was brought over to develop Saturn V
Mm-hmm.
for NASA. But again, we're talking about ancient technology, and there is plenty of evidence of this around the ancient world, and it's mentioned in the text, the ancient texts. So I think the world was a lot more advanced than anyone's willing to talk about. I think that there was this mass cataclysm. I mean, just like today, most of the major cities were on the coast. As sea levels rose 300 feet, it just erased everything. And then all that was left over was the myths and some areas of survival. One of the things that we point out when we go to Egypt, for example, when we do the tours in Egypt, and this is not a well-known or popular theory, but we believe that the Valley of the Kings, for example, was originally survival bunkers, because most people think of them as just these tombs built into the cliff sides. But what they don't realize is all those tombs are connected by these tunnels that go deep down into the earth, where they're all connected. And it would have taken thousands of people to carve out all these tunnels. And if you were a pharaoh and you're trying to find a place to hide yourself where you're buried, you're certainly not going to hire thousands of workers to create a bunch of tunnels so that you could be buried down there. I mean, the secret would have gotten out right away. So we believe that from a Templar perspective, that the pharaohs wanted to be buried at the place where their ancestors originally came out after the cataclysm. And so the other thing that these pharaohs did is in their tombs, they tried to preserve the knowledge of that civilization prior to the cataclysm. And so we show, for example, in certain tombs where there's these tall men with red beards that have baby woolly mammoths and giant sloths on leashes, like
pre-ice age animal,
pre-ice age
right.
animals that the Egyptians shouldn't even know about.
No.
And there they are, carved in the tomb, being preserved by the pharaoh. Why would he want to preserve that in his tomb in that area?
Is that public, or is that something that you've seen?
It's something I've seen. I mean, I can show the photos of it, but I mean, that's one of the things we show when we go on these tours, so people can see it.
Your tour will go in there?
Oh yeah. We show it.
Because the Tomb of the Kings, that network theory, that's disputed. But have you seen that network?
Oh yeah. Well, they have it. They have, that entire tunnel network is, they actually, when you go into the entrance of the Valley of the Kings, they have a model of it for the public to see.
Oh my goodness.
It looks like a giant ant farm underneath there. And some of them go down, 200-300 feet down into the in there. Why did they even have these tunnels for their tombs? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
So this is where the controversy picks up every time, because this is something that's been talked about forever. I know that people within mainstream archaeology in Egypt are going to say that this is absolute bullshit. It may well be, but this is something that has been discussed. And right now, I can tell you that there is a part of people who are looking at the UFO topic, but are looking at it through a different lens, which is this one. And people like, for example, Bob Grenier is convinced that this is not extraterrestrials. This is ancient technology and ancient knowledge. And he thinks that all of this stuff about disclosure and all of this control stuff is just to hide what really, according to him, is happening, which is that this is really ancient tech that has been safe kept and safeguarded for millennia by certain groups. And it's changed hands a couple of times in the past, but that's what they believe. That's what the general belief of this is. And I'm going to link one of the first lectures that I saw from Bob Grenier. There's a lot of physics talk there. I'm not well versed in that, but there are some things that I did understand that do resonate with me. And just want to hear what you guys got to say about that and about this concept of these things not being really alien, but being really advanced from an ancient civilization. Interesting one. And there are a lot of different avenues that we can explore there. Mind you, Hogan is not against the idea of ETs per se. He does seem to think that what we colloquially know as the Anunnaki were a thing, that there were beings that at a certain point arrived from somewhere else. But as I tell you, and as it always happens with anything related to ancient civilizations, there's very little that can be actually proven. And the little that can be proven has been either erased by powerful entities or ridiculed by mainstream archaeology, mainstream academia. And that's just the way the game goes, unfortunately. But I don't know what you guys think. I'm going to leave a link in the description to the entire thing. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know what you think about the overall podcast with Tim Hogan and AJ from the Y-Files. I'll be reading. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive like Timothy Hogan. Always. Bye.